Hi everyone, it's Emily Francis with Oh My Malta, and we're doing something that I've wanted to do for the last year. We are picking olives, but not just any olives. We're picking Bidni olives today. The Bidni is a very specific olive indigenous to Malta. It's only a 2-week option that they open up the fields and allow people in to harvest the Bidni olives. So tell us, because this is the second week.
Yeah. It's the second week. We've had a great response so far. We actually get people to pick the olives off the trees. They spend maybe half an hour after getting to understand and learn how olives are sort of grown and how we take care of the trees. Then after that, we get a small producer. So this year we've got someone who does salt harvesting. So he'll actually talk about his life and what he does and how he sort of harvests salt. And then after that, we have a nice sunset dinner. So a little bit of work, but then there's a lot of relax, and we have some local wines as well, and people get to have a 100% local dinner.
So if you're watching this, mark your calendars for about this time next year that you can come to this incredible event to harvest the Bidni olives and then to come to a beautiful dinner at the Mediterranean Culinary Academy, who comes here and serves the food. So we also have Emmanuel, who is the farmer here, and his father. And they're going to come onto the camera soon and talk about the Bidni. You did mention that the Bidni is a mono variety, meaning single variety, and not a lot of olive oils have single variety?
No, most olive oils are blends of different olives. Although there's nothing wrong with that, we really wanted to try express our local cultural heritage, because consuming Bidni is part of our cultural history as an island. The trees are, depending who you ask, between 800 to 2,000 years old, where the cuttings come from. So this is something that is rooted in the island and is really a flavor of Malta through the ages. So how can you not?
Right. And the Bidni is indigenous to Malta, right?
Yes.
It doesn't grow anywhere else?
No, it's indigenous to the islands.
That is so special. And if you ask me, I would say 2,000 years, because that is the research I have in my book, and I'm sticking to it, to the Roman Empire. So that's what I found.
I say 2,000
I say 2,000 years. I agree with that. So tell me, the Bidni olive is about half the size of other olives, but it's super packed with antioxidants, right?
100%. So Bidni olives are tiny, tiny, tiny. See them here? Usually table olives are way bigger, and those are there because they have a bigger flesh and you can eat them. Whereas Bidni is very, very small, but remember, when you're making olive oil and producing olive oil, you also crush the seed, and the seed has a certain percentage of oil in it as well. So it's not a problem if the olive is a bit smaller. And these trees were bred specifically to produce olive oil. So that's why they're made this way.
I didn't realize that the seeds are part of it.
Yes. They crush the whole thing.
You know, I did hear that the sediment left over from the olive press that people throw away could actually be used as the best skin moisturizer in the world. So we're kind of missing some of that. We should add that in. Just for my own, I learned that and thought it was amazing. The Bidni olive, I also noticed that they're really dark in color. Is that when you know they're ripe? And is that like other olives?
So all olives will eventually go black when they ripen. However, what you want to do is always try to pick the right time of the year when to pick your olives. So the greener the olive, the sort of more grassy in flavor and the spicier. Whereas the riper the olive, the more fruity the olive oil will be. So what we do is try to pick a time of the year when it's about 50-50.
And it looks like that on the trees. It is 50-50.
Like that, we sort of try to get the best of both worlds. When we started, it was a bit too green. And then we tried, and it was maybe 70% ripe, and it was a bit too ripe. So now we've tried to find this like happy middle, and that's why it's green and black.
Thank you so much, Kurt, for being here and for speaking to all of us. And can I ask you one more thing? Is there any advice for people that are learning about the Bidni olive, a certain smell, a certain flavor, a certain color that they know is the best of the best that they've found?
So when you try it alone. Just try a teaspoon of it, and you're gonna feel a super spicy note at the back of the throat. That's when you know it's a really good Bidni olive oil.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So we're here with Manuel and Joe, and we are in the Bidni field, and this is the Grima family olive orchard. So tell me, you were talking to me about the Mediterranean diet and what that means.
So basically, this Mediterranean diet that is so popular nowadays is mostly attributed to the properties that come from the extra virgin olive oil, okay? So when extra virgin olive oil, good extra virgin olive oil, this is very important, is consumed in moderate amounts, it actually helps longevity. So in research and studies, it was attributed that it helps with the longevity of humans due to its help to the heart. Okay, so that's why even in Mediterranean islands like Sardinia, it is known across the world, across all the regions in the world. It's one of the most populations that has the longest longevities in the world. And they produce a lot of olive oil and they consume a lot of extra virgin olive oil as well.
You know, I was given some information on the olive oil from the Mediterranean Olive Oil Academy. Actually, they sent me research, and it turns out that in Malta, the age of living is 10 years older than what we have in the United States.
Okay.
And I would say that is from the olive oil.
Yeah.
So tell me about these beautiful trees and these tiny little olives.
Of course. So basically what we have here and what we are surrounded with are the endemic Bidni olive trees, which are very, very special because they are native to our islands. They have been thriving in our islands, in our own conditions, in our own soil for at least 2,000 years. And they're called Bidni for a very simple reason, because they were found in the valley behind us, in the valley in front of us, in Bidniya. So that's why the name Bidni comes from. We're actually here in Wardija, so we're between Wardija and the valley between Wardija and Bidniya. So even they're very close to this region here. They're very particular because they contain a high amount of polyphenols. So these polyphenols give the extra virgin olive oil its very particular bitter and peppery taste that it's accustomed for. And here in this farm we produce what we call a monovarietal olive oil. And the reason behind it is because we press our own Bidni olives by themselves. So they are not added with other varieties that are known to be cultivated here in the Maltese Islands.
You and Kurt both said a word that I understand the word, but I don't understand it in relation to olives, endemic olive oil. What does that mean, endemic?
So, yeah, this particular tree has originated from Malta. So when you're speaking and talking about olive trees, there's only one species, which is the Olea europea. But you have a lot of different varieties, over 100 different varieties, native to each own country in the Mediterranean region and the Middle East as well. So this particular olive-bearing tree, which is ideal for extra virgin olive oil production due to its size and due to its amount of polyphenols, has been here for thousands of years, so that's why it is endemic to our islands. And naturally, you cannot find it anywhere else in the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, after maybe like take a plant with you and put it somewhere else, yes.
But the Bidni is only indigenous to Malta, which is why I wanted to do this interview. Because we actually did olive oil last year, but I didn't know anything. I hadn't done any research. I hadn't fallen in love with the Bidni yet. And then through this year, I have fallen madly in love with all things Bidni and Malta and the olive oil. One more thing, you said that we harvest only 2 weeks?
Yes.
Right now?
Yes, exactly. We're during the harvesting right now, so behind us we're harvesting olives. We harvested around 4 tons this year already from around 600 trees. Very labor-intensive process, but very rewarding after.
Okay, and then you said maybe January when you trim?
Yes, we prune the trees. Yes, we do it in late January, early February, and we keep the trees in an umbrella kind of shape here.
So the umbrella shape, and then you said you pulled something from the middle so that the sunlight could get
yes,
on all
we
the leaves.
trim. Yes. We
in the center.
yes,
It's empty.
we trim. We cut the center, and we then trim the parts of the end, so it becomes like an umbrella, so the sunlight and the natural air can ventilate through, so it helps with any pests or diseases that might occur later on.
So in my research, I learned that the olive trees, all the leaves have to feel the sun. So that's why you prune it like you do.
Yes, exactly.
They don't want any of the shade and olives. That's why they have to be around 20 feet apart, or 5 by 5 in the planting, so that they have their own space for all their leaves. I love that so much. Thank you so much for letting us in and being part of tonight.